How to get unstuck. It's Kute here, nationally best-selling author of The Magic of Surrender. Hit the like button below. How to get unstuck. As human beings, there are many things that we want to change. Many things that we know we should change. Many things we would like a breakthrough in. And even if we know what to do and what we should do, why is it so hard sometimes to shift, to do what we know, to truly break through? Sometimes we keep doing the same things over and over again, attracting the same relationships over and over again, stuck in the same cycles over and over and again, that it can feel like Groundhog's Day and feel so frustrating, even though we know exactly what to do intellectually. Why can changing feel so hard, even when we know that what we're shifting and what we're designed to shift into is good for us, and where we're stuck at right now is not great for us? Maybe you're stuck in a toxic relationship, maybe an addictive pattern, maybe a certain loop dynamic at work. Why is change hard? The degree to which we are stuck in our ego is the degree to which change can feel hard. You see, the nature of life is change. Everything is constantly changing. But the ego, that which we believe ourselves to be, that which we have identified ourselves as based on name, body, form, past experiences, memories, traumas, childhood conditioning that has been reinforced by life, and we identify so tightly as I'm this, our belief systems, our ideologies about ourselves, I'm this, I'm not that. The degree to which we hold on to that self-perception becomes an identity is the degree to which change can feel difficult, because the ego's job, that which we believe ourselves to be, the ego's job is to reinforce your existence. And the ego's job is to protect you from getting hurt like you were hurt. The ego is simply a response or a reaction to certain experiences that happened when you were very young. And the ego is often an adaptive pattern, a defense mechanism that we hold so tightly to ensure we don't experience those things again. And so for the ego doesn't want to change. The ego wants everything else to change, but it doesn't want to change. And the degree to which we believe we are the ego is the degree to which we will resist change. Because change for our perceived sense of self, change for the ego, what we believe ourselves to be, can feel like a death. And this is why we so desperately, rigidly fight tooth and nail to resist change, even when we know it's good for us. The next level of your life, for all of us, is going to require the next level of you. And the next level of you is going to require that you let go of who you've been, that you let go of what was, that you let go of who you thought you were. The next level of your life is going to require that you let go of that in your life which is no longer a vibrational match, and is going to require that you let go of circumstances and situations and people that no longer align with where you're going. You can't manifest the new being the old. You can't put old wine into new wineskins. And yet, even though we know this, we tend to hold on to who we were and what we know as a self-preservation tactic, out of fear, out of comfort, out of security. But holding on just keeps you stuck. Holding on simply blocks your blessing. Holding on is your affirmation of your lack of trust in the universe. And no matter how much you try to shift, how much you do affirmations, journaling, praying, certain rituals to manifest the new, you will simply stay stuck if you're holding on to what was. And so, if you find yourself stuck and resisting change, firstly, do not resist your resistance. It's often the constant resistance to the resistance that creates even more resistance. We tend to hold on and resist change out of a positive intention. The ego is simply trying to protect you. It's trying to control experiences to make sure that you don't get hurt again. The intention is positive, the method is limiting. And so rather than try to force yourself to change, force yourself to get unstuck, push yourself to get unstuck, abuse yourself to get unstuck, accept the fact that you are feeling stuck. Accept the reality that currently you are resisting, and don't resist your resistance. Embrace your resistance, welcome your resistance, even amplify your resistance, allow your resistance with awareness. When you can welcome and surrender to and embrace your resistance, I'm resisting right now, and allow it, it starts to free you. You can't change something until you come into relationship with it. And if you're resisting it, like I shouldn't be resisting, I should be letting go, I should be changing, I should be something other than I am, this will keep you even more stuck. And so, embrace, I'm resisting, I'm stuck. Underneath that, you will realize that you are afraid. Before I deal with that, sometimes there is an unconscious positive intention also as to why we don't change. Because many times our desire, so check and reflect on your desire and your motivation to change. Sometimes your desire and your motivation to change comes from a lack of self-acceptance. I hate myself as I am. I don't like who I am. I don't like where I am. I'm unacceptable and unworthy as I am. So if I just become this person, if I just become more this way and that way and this way, then I will be more lovable. So essentially, the drive to change, the drive to improve ourselves is coming from a non-acceptance, is coming from a self-hatred, is coming driven by self-hatred. And that is also a reason why we don't change. Why? Because there is an unconscious impulse inside of us sometimes that resists changing, because there is a deeper intention inside of us that wants to be loved unconditionally. So our resistance to change is our own deeper unconscious longing for our own self-acceptance. So we unconsciously resist changing to what we think we should be in order to be more lovable. We resist losing weight. And have you ever had the experience where you tried everything to lose weight because you think that when you lose weight, you're going to be more loved by men or women? You're going to be more, if you make more money and when you get to this millionaire status, then you're going to be more lovable and acceptable. Yet everything you do seems to backfire and you can't manifest that thing you're trying to manifest because your identity and your self-worth is caught up. Your sense of value and acceptance is caught up with the change that you're trying to facilitate, thinking when you change to that thing, you're going to be more acceptable. And so that can create a deep unconscious resistance within you to change. Does that make sense? And so observe what's motivating my shift. What's motivating my change? There's often a deeper unconscious desire to accept yourself unconditionally as you are. Even as you're overweight, even as your bank account doesn't reflect, what you'd like it to be. When you can accept where you are and also start cultivating a relationship, a deep acceptance, an honoring of your value, of your worth, of your lovability, just as you are right now. Nothing has to change for you to be lovable, worthy, acceptable. You are whole, perfect, complete, and lovable as you are. And you can allow yourself to feel that. That can often free up the internal, unconscious resistance inside of you that can then bring you into, shall we say, inner cooperation. And so, acceptance, honoring, accepting, valuing who you are just as you are, even if the mechanics of what you are and how you're acting isn't okay. So when you stop trying to change yourself and you begin to embrace and accept yourself as you are and as you aren't, with all of your imperfections and quirks, and you look at them and you begin to love them and begin to accept them, because all of those aspects of yourself are what make you unique, are what make you uniquely you. Is the unique way that life, the universe, God expresses through you. And so sometimes the harder and the more you try to change yourself, the more stuck you get. And the less you try to change yourself and the more you can just accept yourself as you are, the more that frees you up, the more that frees your energy up from resistance, the more change can naturally happen. Because when you understand that what it is that resists changing is the ego resists change. What we believe ourselves to be resists change because we feel like changing is a death. To change, to become something new, to become something new and experience something new requires a letting go of a certain way of seeing the world, letting go of a paradigm, letting go of an ideology, letting go of a belief system, all of which we believe ourselves to be, which we're not, but we've been conditioned to believe ourselves to be, those thoughts, those emotions, those beliefs, that paradigm, that way of seeing the world, that model of the world. In order to experience something different and be something different and live a different way requires that we let that go, which can be scary because that's what feels like a death, especially if we believe that that is who we are. So realize you are not the ego, you are not your thoughts, you are not your beliefs, you are not your identities, you are none of that. And when you understand that you're not the ego, but you understand that it's the ego that resists, and as you understand that and you begin to come into acceptance, you are more able to meet yourself, meet your ego, meet the aspects of yourself, those parts of yourself that are holding on for dear life, that are holding on to being stuck, that's holding on to that toxic relationship, that's holding on to that addiction, that's holding on to those belief systems, because you realize it's not you. You step back, you observe, and the more you can just meet yourself with loving, gentleness, compassion, and acceptance, it's like you start holding your own resistance with love. You hold your resistance with compassion, because the part of you that is resisting change is often a part of you that is afraid of the unknown, afraid of what will happen, afraid of the new, afraid of getting your heart broken, because sometimes it's more safe to stay in a relationship even though it's painful than risk, but you know what it is, than risk the new possibility of loving. It's easier to continue sometimes being disappointed and knowing what that feels like than to open your heart to a new relationship and love and feel out of control. When you understand that many times we stay stuck and we don't change, the intention is safety, the intention is self-preservation, then you can begin to see that and meet yourself with compassion. Loving, compassion, gentle acceptance, and meeting yourself with grace is the key to getting unstuck. We mistakenly think that, well, if I don't make myself change, then I'll never change. But often the more we make ourselves change and force ourselves to change, the less we change. And even if you change that way, there will often be a point where unconsciously you will rebel and it will backfire. The parts of you that you judge the most and want to change are the parts of you that need the most loving and acceptance. And it's less about changing, and it's less about if you change, but it's more about how you go about the change. How do you go about facilitating the change, and how you are with yourself as you are changing. And so folks, the more you can love yourself as you are, and even if that means you recognize that you're not loving yourself as much as you'd like to, and you can accept that, notice that, be with that, and bring compassion to the fact that maybe you're not even loving yourself right now, that creates a space. And what really facilitates change, transformation, and getting unstuck is the space that you hold for yourself. And the more you can hold yourself with loving, with compassion, with kindness and tenderness, the more you're likely to get unstuck, the more the very thing that you're fixated on changing has the space to feel safe, to free up. Stop trying to change yourself. Accept where you are. Love yourself as you are, knowing that even as you are right now, you are enough. And likely you will find your energy freeing up, and changes will happen much more quickly. Hope you enjoyed this short video blog, folks. Sending you much love, big hugs. Make sure you share this video with anyone in your life that you feel would benefit.